Hey guys, this is Cody Jones with Jangus Genetics LLC out in the calving pasture this evening, just checking. We had one that dropped a calf when we were here yesterday, so coming back to get that one tagged and weighed. And got mama here, but we got to get her to show us where the baby's at, so I'll turn you around, see if we can't video the process. So there's mama right there, purple 86. I see a baby over here I thought was hers, but it's got a tag. And got quite a few of them now. These low birth weight bulls and the heat, I think some of it might be due to heat stress this year, but they'll normally, even in the spring or fall, both, my experience, they'll start dropping up to 10 days ahead of time. Anything before 10 days before my official start date is usually that's a heat stress issue, and those cows, something to watch. You know, maybe cull over time, or depends on how they raise them. Sometimes they'll do a good job, sometimes the calf's just too small, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong in pregnancy, and a few days over 100 degrees when that cow's you know, 7-8 months pregnant, that can cause a lot of stress. So anyway, we dropped 3 yesterday and 2 or 3 the day before that, and so we are officially in season. I think our start date was the 10th and it's the 15th now, so I'd say we're pretty close to being a third of the way done with our fall calving at this point. And got a lot of different stuff in this group. This is a grass finished steer. He'll be ready to go here. Those two will be ready to go at the end of December. We got some heifers that I bought from Dad and Grandpa. We're building our numbers up a little bit. So you see the different color tags. They'll get purple tags here this fall when we get them worked. This is it's a 2-year-old heifer coming too. So those 2-year-old heifers, they'll probably drop here towards the end of October, would be my thought. Most of them look bred, so. Anyway, then we got a 3-year-old heifer next to her right here. She's gonna drop for sure. She's springing a little bit. Most of my orange tag cows are 2017, 2018 born cows that I got from Dad. And these are the ones that have stuck in my program. They calve every year, raise a good calf, and that kind of thing. This is another one of those 2-year-old heifers. She's out of one of my favorite cows, and she actually had a little sister yesterday we tagged. So that's always exciting. And that number 41 orange tag's been a real good cow for me. She's a little bit more vocal than most of my others. She hasn't taken me, but she definitely makes me a little nervous if you see that video. But just love the shape and the hair coat and everything on that cow. The udder score is, the udder is awesome on that cow too. So anyway, that's a 3-year-old that just dropped a calf here. So definitely liking the shape and the uniformity that we're building into this herd. That's another 2-year-old heifer. She's probably gonna end up being a beef. She had a bad case of pink eye, so, when she was a calf, so sometimes I hold on to them, they end up making good grass-fed beef. But anyway, I'm gonna go find that cow, and we'll get on finding who we're looking for here. Hopefully. So beautiful cow. I think she's a 86. I don't know if she would be, she'd be an early 20s model, 19, 20. But just a beautiful cow. You can see the depth of body. She's got a good udder on her. She's got plenty of milk. Definitely wouldn't want to add any there, but love that ewe neck, that slick hair coat. I'm a cattle judge. There's always something I'd change about a cow, but this one, you want to talk about the that red solo cup shape. I don't know if I have an example of a cow that'd be much better than that. You can see she stands taller in the back, and she's just kind of wedge shape as you go down. And she's the same when you get behind her. She's wide in the rear end. The rear end's a business end on a cow, and she gets smaller, more feminine as you go forward. The business end there, you're dropping calves. She's got plenty of capacity. Love that cow. You know, maybe a touch too much milk in the long run, but she'll raise a good calf. And you know, we're kind of watching that on our bulls, making sure we're moderating that a little bit. We'll watch that udder over time, but she's got an awesome tail there. I love seeing a long tail switch. The broomstick type tail, it gets, you know, it's a relatively small tail. Kind of starts wider and gets thinner as it goes down. And some of these things are just personal preference, but they say that's a good sign of butter fat. But again, another good cow that's done it every year. And we're gonna find that baby. That might be one we wanna keep in the future. So. Also, she's got slope from hooks to pins there, you can see. Probably kind of hard to see on my video, but you don't want a cow that is very flat right across from her pin bone there, because that'll give them more calving problems. Or high tail head, that's something we used to look for in the show world that I think has become a problem. Definitely not something we're selecting for. So having that drop there, you look at a deer or any other animal in the wild, in nature, and they've all been naturally selected to have a drop right there. So I don't know if that's gonna affect your quantity of steaks and stuff. I don't think it should, but it's definitely not gonna have steaks on a dead calf. So get them out. Having a live calf, healthy calf is the main thing. So, all right. Got a few weeds here we need to take down, but calves love them. Definitely, if you're rotary mowing your pastures, do not rotary mow unless you know where all your calves are at. We've got some, I've been in pastures before where we have to have somebody drive ahead of the mowing machine, make sure we're not gonna hit any calves. You know, that rotary mower is definitely a killing machine if you're not careful. Deer, turkeys, nests, definitely a lot of things you can mess up. So if I can't get it, I'm gonna got my camera here to take a few photos later, but I want to be a little more agile on my feet here. All right, girl. Sometimes if they're not showing me, which a good mama, in my opinion, is gonna stay with her calf. But since we're in such tight paddocks, you know, for flies and everything, I don't treat for flies. These cows, sometimes they bunch up. A little faster than 3 days. Anyway, sometimes I'll just baw at them. Bah. Bah. Put a little stress on them, whether it's a sheep or cow. Put a little stress on them, normally they'll want to go protect that calf. Which, I guess ideally I'd go find the calf first, but I made 2 laps. Haven't seen him, so. You can see there's my favorite cow. She's bawling back at me. She goes, "What's going on over there?" Any cow or any calf in this pasture, she's very attentive mom, and I love that. But they're definitely the kind that'll can hurt you if you don't know what you're doing or don't have a little backup when you're tagging their calves. I've never seen a cow that did this, but yesterday she got down on her knees while I was tagging. She was never aggressive to me, but just there's a reason she raises a good calf every year. And if I wasn't running registered cows, I certainly don't know that I would. I don't know, you know, it's a catch-22. You want to be able to handle your cattle. You don't want anything dangerous, especially if you got kids and, you know, working high school students, family members, even, you know, it's always a risk when you add any kind of heat to your cattle. and I like to be able to walk out and scratch mine. But having them, she's just perfect. She won't kill me. She does make me nervous, which a good cow, you know, they're just gonna do that. And when this cow doesn't have a calf, I'll walk right up and scratch her. I mean, she is just absolutely wonderful, perfect disposition till those hormones get going. You know, but you really, especially out west, or if you have a coyote problem, or we've got these black-headed buzzards now, you want a cow that's gonna stay with your calves. And if I wasn't selling registered cattle, I would not be out here weighing these calves, I'll tell you that. There's no reason to weigh a calf unless you have dead ones. And even then, I mean, it's too late. If you're pulling a bunch of calves, you need to just go find somebody you can trust that's got some more calvinies. You know. But there's just not a whole lot of reason, in my opinion, to be taking that risk and stressing the animals to be out there. And you could argue that, and I'm sure that there's some reasons we can all justify, but there's just a lot of risk in messing with a calf on a 1,000-pound to 1,400-pound animal's baby. You have to evaluate whether it's worth it to you or not. All right, I'm rambling. I hear one over there. This is interesting. These cows are getting a good dusting. You can see the flies going off. They're standing in the road and they're dusting themselves with their paws. They really like to do this on pond dams. This is how most of my cows are, you know, they kind of know where their calf's at. This calf over here is following this cow, which isn't her mom, so. They have babysitter cows. A lot of times you'll find these calves paired up in bunches of 7 or 8, 4 or 5, whatever. They'll, you know, especially ones of the similar ages, they'll be bunched up. The ones that were born yesterday and the day before, they were all kind of in this area close to me. And then we had 4 or 5 that were laying over here. They were all born within about 12, 24 hours of each other. So, especially as the calves get bigger, a lot of times these cows will get a what I call a babysitter, or an old mama cow that she stays with them. I've heard stories, people saying that cattle that only go to water, you know, like in Africa and stuff, that or out west where they have to really travel a mile or so to water, that they'll leave one cow with all the calves and they'll trade out and take shifts. I think that's really interesting, but you know, I'm in Missouri. This farm's broken into 3 to 12 acre paddocks, so they still will do it. They'll definitely have one cow that kind of stays behind. If you open up, you know, 100 acres or so, you'll see it more, 30 acres, whatever. They'll just have one old cow that's hanging out with most of the calves. But the habits of cows are interesting. All right, I hear this little guy. Let's go find him. You may want to skip this part if you don't like watching people drive on four-wheelers. There's Mama. Maybe she'll stay over here while I tag Baby and won't mess with him too much. I see him right there. I do want to try to do this in the shade. Looks like he's hungry. All right, well, what I'm actually gonna do here is get ready. I don't like to grab these calves and stress them any more than I have to or any longer than I have to. Like I said, most of my cows are pretty gentle, but it only takes one to get you. Got a horsefly. So I just use a Z tagger. I like the one-piece tags. The laser etched is the most important thing to me. And everybody's got a different system for tagging, but I basically just go until I run out of tags, and then I start the next one. And my tattoo will be, at this time, I've kind of gone to using whatever the national tattoo number, year number is supposed to be. You can look that up on the internet. But anyway, this one's going to be purple 22 out of cow purple 46. Just pinch that, pull it back. This is sharp if you've never done this before. But the laser etch tags, the Z tags, is what I've had the best luck with. And I'm not as worried about calf tags, but the cow tags, I bought some other brand cow tags when I first got started. I put a Z tag in one year, and I put the other one in the other year. I can't read, 2 years is what I got, maybe, out of most of them. A year and a half out of quite a few of them. The Z tags, I can still read them 10 years later, so I like them. You know, this is a puncturing the skin of your animal. For identification purposes, the main reason we do it I do it for registered calves. If you're doing this not for registered calves, you know, you could do it at weaning. The only reason I would probably do it if I wasn't running a registered herd is if I had something that was sick and I needed to ID it. You know, if you were really paying a lot of close attention to your calves, if you're paying really close attention to your cattle, if the cow's bawling, you know something happened to the calf. The bag will be strutted. You know, I would probably just get them up at weaning time, hold them for 12 hours away from their mamas, turn them back, write down the pairings. Maybe do this at 3 months and then again at whenever you wean, or do it twice during your 2 rounds of vaccinations or whatever you're doing. Or just get them all in after you're done tagging, hold them for 12 hours, turn them loose, and then you can pair up the mom's calves, the mom's tag, the baby calf tag. You've got them tagged in a different area where you're safe and can be away from it. You're not stressing the brand new babies. If you need to go ahead and castrate at that time, that's fine too. A lot of people like to do it when they're little bitty babies, but you know, you can hit them at 2 or 3 months and give them a shot of CD&T, you'll be fine. But anyway, we're puncturing the ear, so I do add a little iodine just on the tip here, everything that's going to puncture the calf. And then I've got the scale I inherited from my dad and grandpa. They kind of switched to a bathroom scale. And with the bathroom scale, if you're holding, you know, a 60, 70, 80, 100 pound calf up in front of you like this, I'm not a real small guy, but either way, I don't know that you could see that bathroom scale to read it by yourself, unless you're, you know, a calf's moving and a lot of things to think about. But it really, you probably ought to be doing this with 2 people anyway, but I'm not. So I'm out here by myself. So I got this old sling scale, and I don't know how old this thing is, but basically you've got a cradle here. You get the calf in it. I've got a couple of sticks holding this. If you don't have the sticks, it just folds up and they just run out of it. But you hook the end of your scale through here and you just pick them up and weigh them. This one is an old Viking 200 pound capacity scale, and I kind of check it, you know, at the beginning of my calving season, and every so often 50 pound bag, mineral or feed or whatever, and make sure that we're running true. It's always been good. I don't believe I've ever even adjusted it. So anyway, I always like to say a quick prayer. You know, I do this a lot for, I don't want to downplay the danger of what we're doing. Yeah, you know, I always like to let my wife know, hey, I'm tagging a calf. This is where I'm at. But it's a risk that's involved in what I'm doing, you know, and it's not something that, you know, I have a lot of issues with, but it's always something I'm cautious about. You know, I've got young kids and hate to break a rib or however it works out. You know, it's something to be aware of, and definitely a risk that you take every time you do it. So I don't want to overplay my fear, but I certainly don't want to underplay the dangers that we're going through. But I do believe it's important as a bull buying customer. I trust the people I buy my bulls from, and I want to make sure that, you know, I'm gonna be in line with where I want to be, and especially producing bulls of my own, that I'm not producing problems. So got some road dust. I was cleaning my scape earlier in my truck. Anyway, so we're gonna go out there, we're gonna get it done, and it does get your blood pumping a little. So here we go. This one to be about, I'm gonna guess this one to be 68-pound bull calf. £58 bull calf. Good attending, Mom. Probably can't hear my heart pounding, but this is why I love calving this time of year. These calves just get up, they get to rolling, and they've got plenty of vigor. They're really healthy. You still have to watch flies. September, October, but not as bad as early August, or July is horrible. Anyway, oh good, get him a snack. That'll calm him down. Yeah, normally they're not that vocal, but I think that's a good sign that they're strong and healthy. And normally it's not the bulls that get real vocal like that. Normally it's just the heifers. So that was exciting. I'm gonna log this real quick before I get forgetting, and then I'll flip you around. All right, so that's exciting. So I started with heifers, and you don't have to get, my heifers at least, you don't get real excited. They don't get too excited. They don't get too worked up, but as the heifers, every calf they get a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more bossy, and you know, they're becoming better mothers, more experienced mothers, and they kind of know what they're doing, and you know, hopefully they're learning what a threat really looks like. You know, they know that I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna tag it, I'm gonna weigh it, I'm gonna let it go, and I'm not gonna mess with it again unless there's an issue. And they can differentiate that between me and a coyote, which is gonna go up there and eat them. Honestly, we don't have too many issues with coyotes, but I have had a few go missing occasionally. Normally that's the heat stress ones we talked about that were born a little too early. I think they probably passed in the night and then something ate them and they never came up again. But it makes you wonder, you know, if that cow was standing there doing her job or what exactly was going on. Anyway, we got that one tagged, P22 out of P64, and they're off and running, and I won't mess with them again. We're gonna probably work them 6 or 7 months. We'll wean them. That's been a change for me. We used to always wean at, you know, 5 to 7 months, sometimes 8. But those young Angus bulls, especially the ones I'm producing and the type that we're looking to build here, that early sexually maturing animal is definitely something that could breed. Or, you know, I write down the dates of all my births, but if you get off a month or two, man, these fertile cattle that we're trying to produce, they will get bred and they will breed early. So you gotta watch that. You get an 8-month-old bull or a 10-month-old heifer, and you definitely could have some issues. So anyway, I've kind of gone to weaning definitely before a year, usually about 9 months on the heifers, maybe a little bit earlier. It's kind of a balancing act. I don't have enough bulls to wean my bulls early. So I usually just wean them all at the same time around that 8-9 months, which it usually works out pretty good. And then we'll keep the heifers separate for a month or two to kick them out in my other herd. I've got 2 herds, and that seems to work pretty good. If you throw them back out with the same cows, some of them will go back to nursing, and a good cow will definitely wean a calf. But in my experience, if you kick them back out with their moms, you're looking for trouble. So before she claims that next calf. And it's something I've had to cull a few on. A few older cows, you'll see them, they'll be nursing. Definitely not something that you want happening in your herd. That colostrum is so important for that baby calf, and to have an older one come in and stealing, or a cow come in and stealing, that's grounds for termination for sure. So I like to make sure that we're getting them good and weaned and that kind of thing. But throwing them out in the other herd, I've got a spring and a mostly fall herd, and that works pretty good. So we've thrown them out with these fall cattle. They'll get weaned, they'll get thrown out with the spring herd after they've got their calves 4 or 5 months old. And then these fall calves will get the spring calves, or these fall cows will get with the spring calves when we wean them, usually around June, kind of when I've been weaning them. So yeah, we're I don't know, still learning. I kind of like leaving the calves on the spring cows longer into the winter, mainly so I'm not feeding extra groups till the grass is getting ready to roll. But also it helps develop and teach that heifer on the mom, you know, this is what you need to be doing, this is how you survive the winter. They get a little bit more experience before you take them off. So there's good and bad to both of it. But anyway, that's we got a calf tagged. I talked a little bit about my philosophy, a little bit about my genetics, and kind of what we're trying to do. But if you guys have any questions, if you looking for some grass-fed beef or you know, good breeding bull, grass-based genetics, working on that fertility and efficiency and fescue tolerance here. So if you guys interested, have any questions, give me a call. Thanks.